Hey Cancer, thanks for stopping by. How are you doing? We are living in crazy times. I hope that you are finding yourself as well as that you can be, staying home as much as you possibly can. You're the sign of home and family, so if one of us is going to be well adjusted to this moment, Cancer's doing pretty good. So before we get into your cards, of which there are a lot, I feel like Spirit has quite a bit to say to you this month because I've got like a whole chunk of cards that came out when I was doing the shuffle. But they also have a couple channeled messages to start with. And one of them, let's start with the hermit crab. When I was sitting down and meditating on you, Spirit showed me very specifically a hermit crab. Now I get it, Cancer, the crab, sure. But it's more to do with this specific type of crab that when it is making the transition, when it is outgrowing its current shell, right? Hermit crabs live inside a shell that they find. They scavenge and find a home and make it a home. That's what, like you, Cancer, that's what they do. It's their specialty. But in between the time that they leave the shell that they've been in and the time that they are searching for a new, bigger, better, upgraded home that is befitting of their current evolution, they're in a bit of a vulnerable stage. They're not in their comfort zone. And yet, being in that place of in between and outside of the comfort zone is what is the journey to the upgrade. So it is necessary even though it is vulnerable. So there is something you may be doing this month or gearing up, considering doing, that requires that you step out of that comfort zone a little bit, but it's like risk reward. And if the reward is worth the risk of, oof, this is scary, I'm gonna go ahead and put my toes in. Don't just put your toes in. We'll see if the Fool card pops up. We'll talk more about it. Here is the second part of your channeled message. And this is like, Spirit, listen, you may have heard me say this before, Cancer. Spirit will use any which way, any point in our lexicon to get a message across. So we're living in the age of media, television, movies, etc. And Spirit was showing me a scene from a movie and playing the title song from the movie. I don't know how many of you have seen this. It's called Outrageous Fortune. I believe it's a late 80s movie. I don't think it's early 90s. I feel like it's earlier than that. Anyway, Bette Midler, Shelley Long, buddy comedy but with women. Highly recommend, independent of, especially if you're quarantined or, furloughed and have some time to yourself. But regardless, Spirit was singing the title song, which is called Outrageous Fortune, and saying to me that there's outrageous fortune outside of this comfort zone. So you may feel pushed out into it a little bit. We're going to see. Let's get into your cards. They're already telling me, like, we're going to get into the story. Don't be afraid of considering an upgrade. Wow. Yes. You 100% have what it takes. Look at you. Look at you leaving your old shell behind. Huh. Oh, yes. Wow. Holy shit. Okay. Yes. Sorry, Cancer. I will let you in on this in just a second. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. That's a lot of cards. Jeez. Okay. Cancer. You are definitely in line and in need of an upgrade. The awakening has already arrived. You have 7 of Pentacles crossed by Judgment. The considering, and then the revelation. Can I put it to you the way that I'm hearing it, Cancer? This isn't for all of you, but this is for some of you, and for those of you that this is for, you're gonna know it. It's time to quit fucking around. Spirit loves you. Anything they ever say to you is coming from a place of love and never a place of judgment. But they are saying it's time to stop fucking around. Some of you are playing a little bit. Some of you are being a little immature, saying I want this, but not really following through. That's what I'm hearing. There's no shame. There's no judgment. Everybody goes through a phase on their way to upgrading themselves. It's vulnerable to say, I want more, or I want bigger, or I don't want this anymore, or I'm not happy, or etc. That is scary, and it's very vulnerable. But you know what it also is incredibly courageous. And spoiler alert, it's the only key to actual like fulfillment and happiness and feeling like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in the world. And when I say doing what you're supposed to be doing in the world, I'm not trying to put this big heavy weight on you. Like, what are you doing with yourself? What are you doing in the world? Even if what it feels like you should be doing in the world is sitting by a window with a coloring book and your favorite music playing. Some of you have even maybe like routines or habits that you know you should be committing to, and a part of you just flat out feels unworthy. That's a weird thing to say, but again, this is going to resonate with the people that it needs to resonate with. Spirit's always going to come through the way they need to come through. You can see for yourself the series of cards in the position representing where you find yourself. So we started with the Five of Wands. I told you Spirit had a lot to say to you. We needed all of these clarifiers to know what the story is here, what we need to do about it, and where that's leading ultimately, which I really like where it's going. But your free will is everything, Cancer. What you decide to do in this moment has the most effect, more effect than any astrology, than any whatever on the outcome of your efforts. It's you. And Spirit is like giving you full credit for that and being like, you're amazing, and we wouldn't come at you with, hey, like, what do you really want here? If you were not capable, right? Do you feel worthy, Cancer, of what you want? I feel like you dream of more and you dream of better, but you might feel a little guilty. You might feel a little bit like unworthy. That's what I keep coming back to. And I know that's heavy, Cancer, but I'm just the messenger. The Five of Wands, Page of Swords, these are both childish energies. Some of you are dealing with someone who is... I just want to say, whoa. I just want to say, whoa. Sorry, that was my cat briefly attacking the camera. We're okay. I want to say that this person is... it's like low. They make you want to lower yourself, and I don't want you to do that. And anybody that might come in with a shitty little comment, shitty message, shitty email, this could come in a very like digital way because this is the Page of Swords. I feel like don't get tangled up in games when you have so much good stuff to work on and do. My cat is having a field day. I feel like you have to question your way of doing things. Goodness, and it's like your way of doing things, you're a hard worker and you care, and my cat is going insane. It's the weather change, this always happens. Sorry about that. Y'all felt the cat disaster coming. That's all, it needed to happen. It's okay. So we're moving on. So what I'm feeling is that this person is kind of low. And that's just the term that Spirit is giving me. They're relating that to the devil. If you haven't been here before, the devil is not Satan. It is not evil. It's about letting our darker side take over. It's about believing the bullshit, basically, that is generally unconscious, generally hidden from our sight. Generally something that probably originated in like childhood or deep past, going through some big trauma or some big heartbreak that can cut us off from certain feelings, certain desires, and then we just sweep them under the rug and we pretend as if we never wanted that, never needed that in our life. And we do strange things to ourselves, okay? We put ourselves in self-sabotagey situations. We keep ourselves from doing things that we actually really want to do. And Spirit is saying there is somebody, this Page of Swords person, they might be literally younger than you, or they might just be quite immature. And I feel like they are playing games. That's just what I'm hearing when I see this Five of Wands and this Page of Swords. This person is like my way or the highway. That's what Spirit just said. What these cards have in common is their immaturity, the lack of commitment. And then they're connected to the Devil. The Devil is, you know, a card that I often see when I'm doing one-on-one readings for people when it comes to somebody in their life who is extremely childish because they are slave to their desires. And sometimes our desire is like, look, I just want to stay safe. And sometimes staying safe can translate to, for example, being unseen. So somebody might have this dream and this idea, like, I'm going to publish this, or I'm going to broadcast that, or I'm going to create this. But on the inside, they don't feel worthy. On the inside, unconsciously, somewhere, somebody. This is the metaphor that Spirit is giving me, okay? So this may very well be connected to someone who is listening to this reading, but regardless, they're talking about an energy in your life, okay? They're showing me the example of a child who is like wild and bright and exuberant and has so much to say and so many questions to ask. And they come running to the parent in their life and they're like, hey, I just heard about this today and I wanted to know this. And the parent is, we're not even assigning blame here, through no fault of their own. God knows. We know, you know, what it's like to be an adult. For whatever reason, they're tired, or they are in grief, or they are mentally unwell. And they are just like, could you just be quiet and leave me alone? And that, for a child, a person who is forming, that can go extremely and cut extremely deep and create a scar. And what is Spirit is saying, like, what is a scar except hard tissue that has grown to protect a soft part of ourselves? Hello, Cancer, hard shell. You may be protecting yourself from happiness. I don't know who it's for, but it's for somebody. Spirit fucking loves you. Spirit wants you to feel worthy. Spirit doesn't want you playing games. Some of you have maybe like partners or friends or people that you work with that are just like, this person just brings me down. This person just gets me caught up in email or text chains that make me feel like shit. Why am I doing this? For others of you, it's, why haven't I gotten further on this project that I've been saying, and Spirit is saying for like literal years, that I'm going to do this? Maybe it's not because I'm lazy. Maybe it's not because I don't have enough time. Maybe it's not because I don't have enough commitment. Maybe it's because there's certain parts of myself where I just don't think I deserve that, and that's what I need to address. And then the manifestation and the outcome will take care of themselves. You have incredible cards here. Incredible. The potential is the world. The key is the Magician. You have everything that you need, Magician, to have the world in your hands. Spirit is telling me very directly that some of you, these are very big, long-term projects. I also feel great financial gains, honestly, for a lot of you with these projects. Your future cards are 3 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles. Building and sharing and editing and cultivating leads ultimately to legacy, wealth, something that you can pass down and share with the people that you love. For some of you, it's like, I want to build a fucking community theater. This is going to be different for every Cancer. Remember, these are general readings. But for each one of you, what it does have in common is increasing your sense of worth. Yes, that's your net worth and your self-worth. You've been working on this for a long time. The breakthrough is not lacking because you're not willing, but it is because you might be unwilling to see some things about yourself. And here's where I'm going to give you a funny little perfect response to that devil card is our ultimate clarifier, which is the star. The star is innocence. The star is, importantly, shamelessness. That's why she's naked. That's why she wants to share with everyone. She sees nothing to hide. All of this is natural. In fact, all of this is glorious. Everything about me, everything about this environment, everything about what I'm doing right now. Glorious. When the devil could come around the corner and say, oh my God, you're naked. And what happens? You know, the star, she is seen, she's naked. The devil is standing there pointing at her. I see everything. I see everything you're trying to do. I see everything about you. Aren't you scandalized? Aren't you scared? And the star says, no, this is who I am. Like, I'm not seeking to impress you or disappoint you. This is just what I'm here to do, and what I'm here to do is shine. And if I were to put clothes and put trappings all over that, it would only dull and hide my shine. I think a lot of you have something, some part of yourself, some gift that never in our contemporary history has light been more needed. Whatever way that is. Even if it's just, I'm putting that in big quote marks, okay? Everything, fucking every drop of love is precious and essential. Even if it is just a social media post, a YouTube video, a box of groceries that you drop off at an older person's house because you know that they can't be getting out right now. I think you need to know that it's okay for you to shine, and here this is important, it's okay for you to want to shine. I feel like for a lot of you, somebody made you feel like that was selfish or sinful, I'm even hearing. So some of you, there might be like some religious, a religious past or childhood tied up with this. And I don't expect one tarot reading to cure you of any feelings of unworthiness, but I would hope that it could help you to question your feelings of unworthiness and interview, and instead of just accepting that feeling or that message, that Page of Swords coming and taking that as gospel, sit with it, observe it. Not as the thinker, but as the observer of the thinking. You know, like that place we try to get to in meditation where it's like, oh, right, I am not my thoughts. I'm thinking my thoughts. I'm not my feelings. I'm experiencing feelings. You know what I'm saying? What are these feelings telling me right now? Why is this coming up? Oh my gosh, when I really think about it, when that person said this to me, it made me so sad or so angry or feel so rejected. But if I really think about it, I think that person was actually just saying, oh, I'm busy tonight, but it brought back all my feelings of abandonment from my mother or whomever, and this is a trigger that I need to look at, and what do I really need right now? And whatever I need, spoiler alert, I really need it from myself. There's nothing that like a partner, friend, whatever is going to fill that void. We have that well dug within us so that we can fill it ourselves. And then, you know, we can help other people, but they cannot fill it, and vice versa. It's important for you to know, Cancer, as a person who wants to heal everybody and fill everybody else's void. Like, So I want to come back to this wealth thing. You have the Seven of Pentacles at the center of your reading, crossed by revelation and commitment. And I'm really hoping that part of your revelation and commitment, I'm feeling that it's connected to that strength card that is the foundation position. And then that card is connected to the Seven of Swords in the crowning position. Strength is inner strength. We all have that lion inside of us of fear, depression, insecurity, cruelty, whatever, the wild parts, the parts that are not in our control, the parts that sometimes come out when someone says or does something and we're just like, oops, like I cannot be held responsible. The person said my fucking trigger word, so I went off. Like I roared, I went crazy, I tore them apart. That's what I'm hearing about some of you, okay? Maybe some of you have some like Gemini placements or air placements where it's like you can just like cut people to the quick. That's what I'm hearing. The object should not be to kill or cage or beat or even like submit the lion, the beast inside. It's to listen to it. It's to work in accordance with it. It is to be kind to it and nourish it so that it knows who its quote unquote master is. Like, wouldn't you be so much stronger if you were walking alongside this big, beautiful, well-nourished, well-trained lion that is like, oh, okay, now is a good time for a righteous anger. You know what I mean? Versus this lion who's just like gonna do whatever the fuck it does, and actually it's really pissed because it's had a thorn in its paw for weeks that you've just been like, could you shut the fuck up? Because no one wants to look at you, lion. I want to pretend that you don't exist. And it's been, moaning and roaring and clawing at the fucking bars. It's not trying to hurt you. And I know that can sound strange, like your depression isn't trying to hurt you, your insecurity isn't trying to hurt you. But it's true. It's like it's a part of you. It needs help. It needs healing. And when you heal and integrate that part of yourself, you take back the power that you quote unquote gave away or put away when you said, I'm not allowed to feel that. I'm not allowed to feel insecure. I'm not allowed to feel selfish. I'm not allowed to feel good about myself. I'm not allowed to feel worthy or like I want to be seen or whatever. Somebody made me at some point feel bad about that, and now I have connected feeling this way to terrible consequences. You feel me? As the cat rings the bell, like very timely. Okay, sorry. This wealth thing, it's all connected. The lion, the judgment card of revelation, and then that Seven of Swords, detoxing, purging, leaving things behind. I'm feeling like that fight with that Page of Swords, there's no winning that because that person is never going to get it. That's just how Spirit is putting it. Like, they're not going to get it. They're not going to suddenly be like, you know what, Cancer, you've been right this whole time, and I'm going to eliminate that behavior from my lexicon or whatever. So you have to be the one that becomes like Teflon, where it's like, oh, really? Like, do you want to have that fight again? Like, and I'm not saying you say this to the person, but it's kind of like, you know what? I think I'm just going to walk away. Like, the only way to win this fight is to walk off the battlefield. Okay? Think Marty McFly and somebody calling you chicken. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, oh, you think I'm chicken? Like, weird. Okay. I'm going to go on about my life. I've got really important things to do. I'm making plans right now that are leading to great wealth, great success, long term. I'm also feeling like some of you are really thinking about like your home status. Like, do I like where I'm living? Do I have designs? And that's what Spirit is saying. So I don't know, maybe some of you are even like working on or fantasizing at least about like building a house. Like, I know it's very specific, but that's what Spirit is saying, is like a house or a foundation of some kind. Like, I want to build this kind of community, like I said, community center, community theater. It feels like a lot of you want to bring people together. And keep in mind that nowadays you can also do that digitally. Like, nowadays you can use Google Hangouts or Zoom or whatever to bring people together and teach and show and share your gifts. I think you should consider showing your gifts before you feel like they're perfect. That's what Spirit is saying. You're the magician right now. That's the key. You have everything that you need right now. And Spirit is saying to me, and when I say everything, I mean everything. I mean including the bullshit and the difficulty and the Page of Swords and the devil. I mean, all of this is necessary to the formula that leads to these things. Magician has everything they need and they know how to synthesize it. This would be a good month for you to look deep within at places where you feel like I'm not allowed to feel or do or be this. Like basically, if somebody could find out the worst quality you think you have or the worst thing you feel like you've ever done, what would happen, and think about that catastrophe or that vulnerability, and then you forgive yourself and find some compassion for yourself. Maybe you've done some things you're not proud of or that you're embarrassed about, even if they're not bad things. They're just like, oh, that was so embarrassing. I cringe when I look back and think about the fact that I did that. Cringing away from something is what creates that schism and that scar and can wall you off from pleasure and good feeling, you know? So go there, Cancer, and be tender with yourself. Be innocent and kind to yourself. And when you see yourself naked, you know, completely vulnerable, completely visible and exposed, be kind to yourself. Don't ridicule yourself for having felt certain things or done certain things. You've come so far. You're doing so well. When I see the devil card, it's like nobody obviously, like if we could skip that, if we could just see a reading that is full of all the best cards ever, awesome. Life without friction would be all of us just slip sliding all the fucking way around willy-nilly with no purpose and no sense of traction. Friction creates traction. For me, seeing the devil in somebody's reading, especially when it's where I find myself, and especially when it's clarified by the star, is like, you're ready to look at this. You're ready to baptize yourself and be like, you know what? I'm innocent. I forgive myself. I forgive myself. I forgive, like, you don't need to even forgive anybody else, although that's lovely to do too. And if you find that that happens organically, awesome. But start with you. I forgive myself for having screwed this up. And it's not giving yourself a free pass. It's like, I have had a revelation. I've had a revelation that I've made this judgment. I'm a new person. I'm going through a rebirth. I'm not going to do life the way I had been doing before. I'm going to see myself as someone worthy of pursuing their dreams, of creating the kind of life